All right, welcome to Added Beauty. I started to do this video on Tuesday, but I guess now it's actually the early morning hours of Wednesday. And I'm really just doing it as a function of trying to build the muscle of doing the videos with a regular cadence like I said I was. I don't want to get distracted and slow down for too long. But as I know you know, there's so much going on right now. So much in the world. So much that's just actually really hurtful. Um, Nerve-wracking, literally, and anxiety producing and sad, really, right? So I had to think about some things. I had to kind of talk my son down off of I could see him just amping up from doom scrolling basically, or just all of the headlines and news and things that are going on and the sad losses of people and everything like that, and try to figure out how do you reconcile, I guess. And you really can't, right? You can't really reconcile what's going on right now. So the best that I can do at this moment is try to maintain my sanity, try to help my friends and family maintain theirs, doing a lot of praying, and trying to figure out, where else I can be of help and of service and do something meaningful, right? And so, you just go through your day and all kinds of things come your way that just send you back to these various thoughts. Microaggressions, macroaggressions, fears about, what's going to happen in your neighborhood or to your friends or family, all the things, right? My son mentioned that the next county over, which is Orange County, is having a lot going on in terms of the ICE raids and things like that. So I think he was expressing that he was getting nervous that it was, close to where we are. And this is the moment that we're living in right now. And I mean, it's not sustainable, obviously. So it's going to have to come to a head one way or the other, and we'll see how it does. But, all we can do in the meantime is what we can. And also still, I feel like, when things happen to you, like, things in my life have happened, right? You have to determine how you're going to let that affect your daily living. If it's going to shut you down, if it's going to close you off, if you're going to hang on to the trauma or the hurt or the pain, or if you're going to determine for yourself that you will be well and that no matter what's happening around you, you can find a way to be resilient, and you can find a way to keep moving forward. If you stay stuck, then whatever it is wins, right? If you stay stuck in your hurt, if you stay stuck in your pain, if you stay paralyzed and not able to try to figure out ways to move forward productively, then whatever the thing is that happened to you or is happening around you or something that somebody tried to do, whatever, then you're letting that win. And that's not how we get down around here. So again, for those of you who may not know me or may not have seen any of my other videos, I'm working on trying to literally save my own life. I'm a woman of a certain age now, and I'm starting to have one or two health challenges that I want to do better with. um, I realized that I've been working, been working since I'm 14, and I'm a little tired. I'm also going through some menopause stuff. That was me just turning on my fan. But I do have an appointment next week to talk to my GYN, and maybe I'll record that too and hear what they have to say about HRT and hormone replacement therapy for those. And, if that can offer some more relief and comfort. So right now, what I'm doing for myself with this channel and what I hope to do for the people who watch it is help us add some more beauty to our lives in a time where there's so much chaos and so much that's just really ugly. Yeah. And for myself and for a lot of people I know, we need to work on radical relaxation. Because we're always moving, we're always going, we're always taking care of other people. We work hard, and then we work hard. And then we work hard some more. But, and we support people, right? We support them physically, we support them emotionally, we support them financially. And sometimes we don't have a lot of people who are supporting us. And so you have to find ways to support yourself. That's what I'm working on. More balance, more feeling safe, more feeling comfortable, more feeling rested, and just, it's not like a full-on midlife crisis or anything, but understanding that I probably have more life behind me than in front of me at this point, and so many things that I really want to get accomplished, and so many things that I just want to do for fun, right? So much of the world that I want to see, and I used to think about this many years ago, like, what if you have a midlife crisis? Like, what is that about? Like, why are you flipping and switching up and doing all these things when you get to 50 or whatever it is? And I think, now that I'm, a little over 50, you kind of go, well, is this what I thought my life was going to look like? And if it's not, or it's not quite, in my case, I have a lot of wonderful things and wonderful people in my life and a lot of blessings. And I'm not whining about my life. I'm just noting that there's room to optimize, and that I have the power to do that. And so I should, right? I should go after the life that I want for myself, that I've dreamt for myself, that I prayed for myself. And it's also a way to be a good example for, like, my daughter and my son, of what they should accept, what they should expect, how they should hold themselves in terms of, what they deserve in their life, right? Not saying you're entitled to things, but that you're willing to work for it, and that you set boundaries with people, you set standards for yourself, and in that way, it makes things more beautiful, right? Because you reduce your stress, you live in surroundings that you feel comfortable in, you take care of yourself because you're setting those boundaries and those expectations for yourself too, right? So for me, that looks like I want to eat better, even though I do pretty okay. Today was Taco Tuesday, or yesterday I had tacos. They were good too. And there's nothing wrong with tacos. Maybe you just don't have 5, you have 2, like I had 2. Maybe you have fish tacos. Maybe it's not fried, all of those things. But you get what I'm saying. Like, there's room for moderation. There's room for joy, and there's room for exploration and room for adventure. And um, despite the world chaos that's happening, it's really a beautiful place. Despite the U.S. chaos that's happening, it's really a beautiful place. And lots of blessings to not take for granted. But sometimes you've got to be intentional about finding them. And so, I wake up every morning with gratitude. I said that in a previous video, that I try to remind myself every day, this is the day the Lord's made. I'm going to rejoice and be glad in it. I say thank you for the wake up. Try to get up and stretch. Some mornings I'm hitting the snooze a couple times. And I'm working on trying to be more routine with giving myself the time to rise at a nice even pace instead of having to run through my morning routine. Having time to make sure that I'm setting my day off well and not feeling frazzled and frantic and all of that. And I know I do better if I, think about what I'm wearing the next day, the night before. If I think about, what snacks or lunch I'm bringing the night before, so that I'm not rushing, and so that I'm not at work choosing something that I wouldn't have otherwise chosen to eat or put in my body. So, bring my bottled water, bring my tea bags. I like a lot of different herbal teas, and I mix those a lot. Bring my fruit, make my stop at the farmer's market and grab my hummus or various, what's that I like. Everybody's got their stuff. Let's see, this morning I had 1 scrambled egg for breakfast. I don't know why I was tripping out. Some people brought donuts. I was able to avoid the donuts. That was good. But I meant to, have something else with it, and I didn't. But then I had a Mediterranean wrap for lunch, which was actually really good. It was big, so I didn't finish the whole thing. And then for dinner, I had my 2 tacos with some guacamole and some beans. So not terrible, but also, I have to be mindful. My sugar, how much intake of that, drink my water instead of drinking my calories. Simple changes and things like that can help. Things that I want to continue to work on related to my health, besides what I put in my body, is what I put on my body. And in general, I like all of the things, whether it's what I'm eating or what I'm using for skincare, hair care, etc., to be as organic or natural or plant-based as possible. Although for my diet, I do eat meat, sometimes less than others. Bacon tastes good though. I do love butter. Yeah, butter. And I don't know, stuff like garlic aiolis on things, and any kind of fish. Sushi is my friend. And I like good salads. I'm like going to Tender Greens, and I like the salmon salad and extra avocado and all that kind of la. So for the most part, I'm doing pretty all right. But in these times where there's so much going on, it can shoot your cortisol levels up. We're not even aware of it. I find sometimes you stay more in that fight or flight mode than you should, more than you should. And, sometimes if you catch yourself like, oh, you got anxious when that phone call happened just before you even knew what was going to be, you're like, oh, what is it now? Or, if you happen to hear the news or something like that, you kind of tense up immediately, like, oh, who died now, or whatever it is. And, you can't live like that sustained. I think in a way we're all kind of in a group depression and a group shock, really, in some ways, and in some ways not. For some of us, some treatment has been generational. And for some people, it might be more of a new sensation, and it's unfortunate either way. But I'll speak for myself and maybe some other Black women. We have to deal with an exceptionally high level of stress, and sometimes an exceptionally high level of disrespect. And sometimes you have to laugh about it so you don't cry. An exceptional amount of weight to carry in support of your family, your friends, and it can translate into trying to hyperachieve, into always saying, yeah, I'm good, I'm all right. You know, when people ask you, how are you? And you know, out of courtesy, a lot of times you don't say, well, today this bad thing happened, or this other thing made me mad, or, you know, so-and-so said this. Yeah, I'm good. But sometimes you're not good. And sometimes it's okay to say you're not good. And it's okay to seek help. You know, also sometimes in the Black community, there was a thing about not going to therapy. I think that's bull. I believe in church, clearly. I believe in Christianity. And, you know, of course, prayer. And it does change things. And at the same time, you may also still need therapy. And at the same time, you may also still need a vacation. You may also still need a minute to yourself to breathe. You may need to go put your feet in the sand or in the grass, or go somewhere and just lay on your back, or go somewhere and scream, or go somewhere and hug it out with somebody. You know, if you're in that type of relationship, you might need to go somewhere and roll around together for a little bit. However you burn your stress. You know, we're grown people, but you got to get it out some kind of way. Hopefully it's a healthy way. It's not overeating. It's not over drinking. It's not drugging. It's not something that causes you yet another problem that you have to take care of or manage. And, you know, here at Added Beauty, this channel here, I want us to stay grounded for the most part, right? I want it to be a safe space and a place where you can learn stuff. You can do experiences with me together. We can talk about stuff, and we can breathe. You know, I really do feel like, in fact, let's take a breath. That's therapeutic, right? Let's be mindful about that. So, okay, good breathing, sitting up straight, right? And people sometimes, you know, tell you fill up your lungs. Well, really what you're supposed to do is fill up your stomach. So if you're taking a deep breath, you should be able to push your stomach out with how much air you took in. And this is also good to ground yourself if you find yourself getting high anxiety, or before you have to do something like take a important phone call or have a crucial conversation, or before your next job interview, when you get that little moment of, ugh. I take a moment to remind myself who I am. I take a moment to remind myself whose I am. And then I take a few deep breaths. You need 2 or 3 cleansing deep breaths, and it really does reset your brain, sends more oxygen to your brain, obviously, and it settles you. So let's take a couple breaths because we could use them, right? Okay. So for me, let's do it. I think that it's important to remember adding beauty to your life is not being superficial. It's like really structural, right? The structure of adding benefit to your home, your job, your life, your wellness, your wealth, and your rest. That's not superficial. That's being mindful of what your body needs, what your spirit needs, what your heart needs, without burnout. Prioritizing yourself in the middle of all the other things and people that you prioritize, because you recognize and you remember in your spirit that you're worth it, that you deserve it, that you can do it. It's attainable, even with everything else you've got going on. If you take that moment to just pause and like notice, hey, I need a minute, and it's okay for me to take it, however that looks. Value, like assign the proper value to how much you need that to keep your blood pressure in line, to keep your blood sugar in line, to keep your spirit happy so you have a fuller cup to pour from. And so I'm going to work on that for me. I'm going to go do some fun adventures. I'm going to keep working on functional nutrition, functional medicine. I'm actually working on a functional medicine certification while I'm doing my doctoral degree. And, you know, it's to add more knowledge and credibility to things that I'm building, but also just for myself, so I can use what I learned to take better care of myself. I am going to be working on, you know, more physical activity. One of the last things that I did that was really fun was a first time around with pickleball. I'm gonna do that again. It was fun. And, you know, take some classes, go meander, see some places, find ways to woosah, basically. And they don't all have to be expensive things. It could be window shopping, one of my favorite places to window shop besides maybe a jewelry shop. Definitely a thrift shop there. I don't window shop, I buy. But sometimes if I'm just wanting to chill a little bit, I love going to Home Goods. That's my jam. Because I like decor and things like that. And I even dream about what lines I would have, like if I had my own home decor line or fashion line and different things like that. But just, you know, finding ways also to be creative and get those juices flowing, get your mind thinking about things that are other than just work, or what's your next task that's due, or what somebody else expects of you. But allow your creativity to come back. Allow your dreaming to come back. Allow your just kind of wandering thoughts sometimes to take you away. Read a good book. Any of the things that work for you. Everybody is different, right? I keep buying books. I think I'm doing better lately with audiobooks because I'm trying to squeeze so many things in. But find ways to bring that energy, that positive energy, that emotional safety, that physical safety, that physical health to your body. Because this is an emergency. Like, we don't get a do-over. And you can't get the time back. So do it, because even if you take small little incremental steps, they all add up, right? They potentiate each other. And over time, you see the change. And like I said, you can't get the time back. So make sure you save some for yourself. Make sure when you get to the end, you can say, yeah, I saw a few things. I did a few things. I went a few places. I had some fun. And join me so while I'm working through it Hopefully I can be a good example. Like and subscribe. Added Beauty 444. Tell a friend, tap a neighbor, tell a friend so they can find us. And yeah, don't forget to take those deep breaths. I'm going to probably do 1 or 2 more as I try to wind down and go to sleep. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you tomorrow.